Hello, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in to the Black Eagles podcast. Before we go live with today's episode, we would just quickly like to address the tumultuous situation in Turkey right now. We realize that football is a distraction, and in scenarios or situations like this in the country right now, perhaps there should be no distractions. However, we are committed to bringing you a weekly podcast covering Beşiktaş for everyone watching around the world, and we will continue to do so even in these tumultuous times. However, our thoughts and sympathies are out with the peoples out on the street. And thank you all for tuning in, and enjoy the show.
You're listening and or watching to the Black Eagles podcast, a Beşiktaş talk show.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru aksın kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Yuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet. Ve gol!
Hello, Black Eagles. Welcome back to the Black Eagles podcast. Beşiktaş have beaten Galatasaray in the Turkish derby, and in the Istanbul derby. As you can see, I'm a little rattled still from the result, not so much, but more from the introduction. It's difficult. We don't really know how to carry ourselves in these sorts of circumstances, Sinan. We addressed the situation in Turkey right before the intro. I think that's going to do that for the political talk. For us, we are not a political podcast, of course, we're a football podcast. We understand that a lot of people out there right now are boycotting Turkish football. They're boycotting a lot of Turkish media, and I think rightfully so. A little bit of a glimpse of my political views there. But I hope you're not boycotting the Black Eagles podcast. We're going to talk about Beşiktaş tonight, and we are going to talk about our win against Galatasaray in the Istanbul derby. And for us, Sinan, a very important victory, because this means that Galatasaray's 0 on the loss table has now been erased and has been replaced by a 1, which means that Beşiktaş continue to be the only invincible champions of Turkey, and that's pretty much all a lot of us still cared about recently. So how do you feel coming out of this derby? How did you feel going into it? Did you feel confident we were going to get a result here tonight?
Oof. First of all, let me also just quickly extend my sympathies to everyone in Turkey, with everything going on, everyone who's been put out by whatever is going on. But of course, solidarity with everyone who's, expressing their voice in whatever way they choose. But without getting too political, because I'm already, again, sort of signaling sympathies to a certain side. Anyhow, in all of my attempts to be somber in saying that, it is me sort of restraining myself, because I'm freaking hyped right now. Like, we just saw, I thought we saw an excellent 90 minutes of football. Really, and I'll even go so far as to say my compliments to Galatasaray. I think it was a well-fought match. I have my complaints for a few individuals. Torreira, for example, has officially entered my shit list. And it was before he scored. It was his petulance, like he was looking for calls and being dirty as always. Anyway. It was a great 90 minutes of football, or 95 minutes. And to be honest, it was fantastic on so many levels, right? Like, not only did we beat Galatasaray, not only did Samsunspor lose, so we gained not just the 3 points from the victory, but then the 3 points that they lost. So we're theoretically, should we win that game in hand, just a single point out of third place, which, considering where we've come from, with these 2 terrible losses in recent history, what can you really say? Like, we've sort of made our season relevant again. We've put a dent in Galatasaray's season by giving them their only loss of the entire season so far.
In the league.
What I enjoy perhaps most in the Schadenfreude department is that we had a terrible referee this match who did some just, I thought, despicable things with his whistle out there. And despite that, we got the 3 points. And that's with all the shenanigans, with them getting the referee that they wanted, with that referee being a complete turd through much of this game, not giving fouls where they should have been given. Jankowski could have been given a red card before we even had to worry about the straight red.
Which one?
So he had there was a yellow card he didn't get when he took Mucci out on the wing, and so then when he got the straight red, and we were like, oh, is it a yellow or is it a straight red? It shouldn't have mattered because even if he'd gotten a yellow, it should have been his second, but they didn't even give that the first one.
Oh yeah.
Barış Alper Yilmaz should have absolutely been taken out of this game when he stomped on Masuaku.
Oh yeah, he was on a yellow already at that point, but that was late in the game though, right?
Later in the game.
Yeah, that was pretty late.
Yeah, it would have iced it, right? It would have taken the pressure.
I mean, I think the only thing that could have iced this was a third goal, and I felt like that as well when it was 1-0. I felt like that if we score a second, it's over. So when Mucci scored that really well taken shot, I really thought
we have a sound echo.
I really thought it was over. We have an echo. There shouldn't be any echo. Oh yes, that's I know what that is. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'll fix that. But before we get more into football, I would quickly like to address something else. So, we already talked a little bit about the political tumultuous situation in Turkey, and whether, regardless on what side of the fence you are on, please, if you're going out on the streets, stay safe.
Yes.
And don't do anything stupid that could, cause you grief down the road. But also, before we talk further about football, there's something I would like to plug. Something that is always near and dear to my heart, and that's children. And of course, for those of you who've been following, hell yeah, who've been following us for a long time. Some years ago, we did a charity event where we collected money for children in Širnak to get them scarves and warm clothes for the winter. And actually, one of our most loyal listeners and followers and members of the on Patreon and in the group chat, he's actually a teacher, Mario Vargas. He's an English teacher, and he's teaching in a Turkish school right now in Antalya. And on the 6th of April, he will be running. We will doing an event. They will be hosting an event. Their school is called the TEK. It's in the description. Please go check it out. But what you can do is you can sponsor Mario, and it starts at 250 lira. And his goal is 25,000 lira. I've already donated. I hope some of you already have, but if you haven't, please consider doing so. Go out and check that out in the description, and go sponsor Mario for the underprivileged children to get them, I believe it's scholarships for school. I believe it's 10,500 lira per child to get them a year through school. So that's what they're doing this for. So please go and check that out in the description.
How does that translate to dollars these days, Kaan? I mean, or should I suppose
250 lira is about 6 euros. So really,
I can't believe I didn't do it yet. I feel terrible that I haven't donated.
As the Black Eagles podcast, for everyone who donates a minimum of 250 lira to Mario's cause, I have given Mario a coupon code, and he is allowed to give those to people who donate. And if you donate at least 250 lira, you will get 6 months free membership on our Patreon. So that means the exclusive podcasts, the Schwarting report, all the stuff we do. So please go and help out the kids in Antalya and Mario for his run on the 6th of April. So go and check that out in the description. the link is linked there, and you can just pay with MasterCard or Visa or whatever. You don't have to have a Turkish bank account or anything like that. The only downside is the website isn't Turkish, so if you're struggling, maybe use a translator or something. Anyway, let's get talking about football again, Sinan. Sorry to interrupt there. I just, I wanted to do that at the top of the show, but a little bit of chaos in my head right now. My earbuds died as well, so I had to switch. So, anyway, let's get.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, okay, I see. There was something that happened there.
Yeah. So let's talk about this match. So yeah, I agree with you. Barış Alper definitely 100% should have gotten a second yellow, but right before that, Sinan, there was a penalty position with Davinson Sanchez and Emirhan, and I thought, oh fuck, he's gonna give a penalty there. What did you think of that situation?
Did you think it should have been a penalty? I'm glad they didn't give it, and I don't think it was a penalty. I mean, it was sort of dumb enough. Like, don't in a sense, like don't even give them an opportunity because, like, you know how these things go, and this ref already, like, was showing an inclination to help them out. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, luckily, I think it was pretty obvious that it was like both of them competing for the same space, and then Davinson kind of like flailing. I think he might have oversold the contact. I think, are we having internet connections or something? I keep hearing like the ping. Anyway, is it on my end? I hope it's not on my end.
I'm not hearing anything.
Anyhow. Okay. Well, maybe, yeah, hopefully it's not. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was not a penalty, and I'm glad they didn't give it. So I will agree that it was sort of stupid on the part of Emirhan.
Yeah.
He didn't need to do that.
I think that's the type of penalty that if you lose this match, if the glove is on the other hand, if we're the losing party and we have that position, I think afterwards we'd be very upset. I agree with you. I think Davinson is looking for contact there. It's kind of a lost ball. But Emirhan just, you don't have to give the referee an excuse. And I think on another day, he points to the spot there. And we should talk about this. There was a lot of controversy going into this match about the referee. Of course, a couple of weeks ago during the Galatasaray-Fenerbahçe derby, there was a foreign referee appointed because, Fenerbahçe mostly, I think, put the pressure. But there's no real trust in Turkish referees, let's be honest. And the irony in that situation is that these are the two teams that are the most privileged. They get most of the calls their way. If you look at that red card that they get today, Galatasaray, that's the exact same red card that Barış Alper Yilmaz does not get, 6 months ago or whenever it was when we played them in their stadium. They should have had, 3 red cards in that game. And I think, if this game is in the first half of the season, I don't think they give that red card. First and foremost, there wouldn't be a foreign VAR, so there would be a Turkish VAR. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I felt like they were just gonna brush it under the carpet again. When I saw it, my initial reaction was instantly like, that's red. It has to be red. It's the exact same thing as with Barış Alper Yilmaz in the first game this season in the league. And then they just brushed it under the carpet. I thought they were gonna do it again. I was surprised they actually did go to VAR. And of course, when they go to VAR, it's gonna be a red card.
I'm glad that you confirmed that it was a foreign VAR booth, because I remember there. You never know if those rumors really become concrete. But I was gonna say that's probably why it wasn't called a penalty, the Davinson contact, because I feel like in most cases it probably would be given to Galatasaray just in their favor in general. And I feel like it's only in a true kind of vacuum could one sort of very clearly, objectively be like, okay, they're both competing for the same space. Like it's not like one person's step is like into the other space too aggressively. So like you have to be of a fairly neutral mind, I think, to really not call that. And I'm glad whoever was in the booth was in charge rather than the ref.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's probably not enough for a penalty. And I think if he gives it, I don't think VAR can overrule it. But I think it's the same where if he doesn't give it, I think, VAR's like, okay, the ref interpreted it this way. Let us know in the comments, by the way, guys, what did you think about the non-given penalty to Galatasaray late in the game? What did you think about our goals? Rafa Silva's fantastic goal, Torreira's amazing goal for Galatasaray, and then Gedson's goal in the second half. Let us know all your thoughts on the match. Yeah, shall we start with the lineup, Sinan, and then we can start kind of like, you know, talk about our feelings and thoughts about the performances of the individuals of the match.
Yeah, that's usually a good.
Hello, amigo. How are you? Come to Beşiktaş. Come to Beşiktaş.
That was incredible, really, because I mean Davinson Sanchez, I think we can all agree is the best defender in the league, and he tends to boss everyone around. And the way that Rafa just clowned him there, that was really great to see. Yeah.
It was fantastic. We can all yeah. It was like a moment of levity for this whole season, which we all deserve. Anyway, on the right side of their defense, the Polish 29-year-old, boy, I'm going to struggle with this dude's name, Przemysław Frankowski, who, yeah, like we said earlier, could have been given a yellow card even earlier in this match. But yeah, he left the match quite early. What minute was that, Kaan?
I think it was like a 37th minute or something. Or
Yeah, 36. Yep, exactly.
Something like that. Yeah, apparently we had a mute issue there, by the way, Sinan. So maybe, yeah. Well, let's just continue. Just continue. Yeah.
The whole time?
No, I fixed it like a bit ago, but yeah.
Oops.
I don't know why though. It's weird. Maybe I fat fingered both mute buttons or something. I don't know.
Anyhow, the left side of their defense featured, of course, Evren Eren Elmalı, 24-year-old Turk, who, whatever, he's all right. In their midfield, of course, their 6 is Brazilian 25-year-old Gabriel Sara, who plays next to the man who made it to my shit list today, 29-year-old Uruguayan Lucas Torreira. Is Sara the 6 or is Torreira the 6? Or are they both?
Torreira is the 6 for sure. Yeah. Oh. I mean, Sara in the first half he had a couple of falls. I think he had like 3-4 falls. Didn't get a card. Didn't have a good game, I think.
He was terrible. It was terrible. He was like a total non-factor. That guy was so expensive. Imagine we could afford to just spend that much on someone who's as inconsequential.
Set pieces are great though. I mean, we could use that for sure. I mean, he had a couple of shots in this game. I think Mert made them look more difficult than they really were. But I don't think Sara is a bad player at all.
The context for my comments are that, however, that he was the lowest rated player according to Fatma, with the only exception of Frankowski was the only exception. But they had the same rating, despite Frankowski, of course, being red carded only playing 30 or so minutes. Anyway, so of course we've got, I guess we'll do their wings first, because whatever that situation is up front. They've got Yunus Akun, 24-year-old Turk on the right side, opposite Barış Alper Yilmaz, also 24. Wow, he's only 24 still?
He's almost 25, yeah. I think he's he could be turning 25 soon at least.
Barış Alper is, of course, still a henchman of sorts. Should have been taken out of this match. You almost felt like it was like pity, you know. They didn't want to, like, on top of losing, they're gonna lose one of their important players, like. But that shouldn't really be a factor in a referee's decision. Of course, that's maybe me writing a bit of a narrative there too. But I don't know. Like, it was weird. It seemed an obvious second yellow. Anyway.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, that was a very obvious second yellow. I mean, he just stepped on his foot.
And it was like right in front of the ref.
Yeah, the linesman as well. They didn't even give a foul there, Sinan. They just, they didn't even give a foul.
Completely played on.
Yeah.
In fact, it led to them getting a corner kick, which could have been quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Anyhow. So then, of course, you've got in the sort of number 10 / I suppose maybe sort of secondary striker role, Alvaro Morata, 32-year-old Spaniard, yet another expensive forward for these red and yellow folks.
And he had his fair share of falls as well, and the ref just...
Yeah, he was a bit of a turd, honestly.
He
was one of the more impetuous flappers, although, of course, the king of impetuous flappers was the only man whom I've yet to name, Victor, 26-year-old Nigerian Osimhen, who was just... I think I said at some point he's like a fish out of water, the way he's flapping everywhere. Whenever he had the opportunity, he was jumping around and trying to get the ref to notice, and like it was shameless, totally shameless. But anyhow, we can all laugh about it now.
What did you think of our lineup before the match? Because no striker technically, no Chio Immobile, no Semi Kılıçsoy. Yeah, very interesting lineup. We actually talked about this a bit already in the past, where we were talking about, Rafa as a false 9, Mucci as a false 9. I had the impression that Mucci was the more advanced player when it came to pressing, and then Rafa, of course, did what he always does, and it's like looking for the pockets of space. But what did you think about this lineup when you saw it?
Well, first of all, I read it more as rather than what we're seeing on the screen here, that like João Mario was more back into like a 10 role, perhaps, with Rafa up front. Or whatever, secondary striker or whatever, since I mean technically Rafa's not a striker either. But so yeah, I mean I don't want to I hate doing the I told you so routine. But I feel like I'd be remiss not to mention that you and I have both said that it would be interesting to see Amuchi or Rafa Silva up top. We both, I think, settle on how maybe we don't have enough skill to play like that Barca tiki-taka, joga bonito, whatever style. But at the end of the day, it was something we both wanted to see. And so I was eager to see it when I saw the lineup announced. And yeah, I mean, sure enough, I thought it was fantastic. I thought we looked really good out there. Real quickly, I'll run through the lineup. So, of course, you've got Mert in goal, Paulista and Emirhan in the back line, Arthur Masuaku and Jonas Svensson on the flanks of our defense. 1 second, guys.
What's wrong, Sinan?
Sorry, there was some chitter-chatter on the back there. And then, of course, we've got Gedson, Fernandes, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the center of our midfield, with Milot Rashica opposite Ernest Mucci on the flanks, which is debatable.
It was a very fluid lineup, I think.
It was very, very fluid, very modern in a sense.
And Solskjaer even said that.
It could be anything.
Yeah, and Solskjaer even said that before the game. He said, we're going to play with 4 offensive players. There's going to be a lot of interchange, a lot of position changes. And that's essentially kind of what we saw. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, João Mario went out wide often. Mucci came central. There were times where Mucci was the more forward pressing, attacking player, and Rafa Silva would sit back a little bit more and kind of play more in the midfield. And then, for the most part, Rafa was the more advanced player typically. So, I mean, I thought it was great, and it was, for all of the talk of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst being, a kind of Plan A only guy. By the way, I guess we can get off the screen now, Kaan. We've kind of covered the lineup, I suppose. With all the talk of us not having a Plan B for much of the season, it was great to see us doing other things, experimenting, and we've already seen plenty of that with the 3-man back line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so like that would theoretically already be like a Plan B, but so now this is a Plan C, and frankly, I mean, it was such a interesting Plan C that I would love to see more of it. I'd love to see us doing some of this stuff against some of the weaker sides in the league, frankly, because I feel like we can break that press much more easily with whatever this was. And another thing that I love tactically, by the way, is that however it was that we were playing, we had enough energy still that by the 70th minute, when they were more desperate, we showed the ability to start pressing more. And so where historically we'd sort of sit back and maybe try to like close this game out by not letting them score, we were actually kind of cutting out their balls in the back of the midfield and being much more assertive for a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
even before the red card, I feel like they relied very heavily on long balls. Most of their game plan seemed to revolve around that. There was a couple of minutes where, a couple of moments, of course, where they did press us back and had some shots. What did you think of Mert's performance? Because I kind of thought he, I don't know about the goal. Of course, it's a fantastic shot by Lucas Torreira, but I think right before he shoots, Mert takes a step forward. I think he's also probably a little bit out of position in terms of positioning. I think if he is like just one step more to his right, he can get that. I don't think he should be conceding that as the goalkeeper that he is.
Yes, I'm glad we brought. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, he was absolutely out of position, and it's interesting because I saw that everyone on the team was looking towards the midfield, maybe towards Gedson or whoever it was that like didn't press on Torreira hard enough, I suppose. But I didn't see anyone critical of the fact that Mert was, I would say, like 10 steps too far forward and completely caught in no man's land, when that shot came in. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing out there, frankly. Like, not that he would have necessarily saved that shot anyway, because it was a banger. No, I'll give credit where it's due, but he certainly would have had a better shot of saving it if he had that extra time of being, 10 paces back, and maybe seeing where it was going further back too. So I don't know. I don't know what he was doing there.
It's not
and people were actually saying.
Yeah, but it's not just Mert, of course. I think there should be more pressure on the ball there as well. But I feel like Mert in general, there's a couple of shots he faced and he spilled it. He spilled it multiple times. I don't know. I didn't. First half.
Yeah, he was sloppy. Yeah.
First half mainly. In the second half, he had very little to do. And can't really say much about him. I don't think he had a bad game or anything, and I don't think that goal is like a massive error, not even maybe a big error. It's maybe like a very slight little error. It's a fantastic.
I mean, you got to give credit for the shot.
Yeah, of course, you have to. But I do think that given the plaudits that Mert does get from a lot of our fans, I think we could expect him to maybe do a little bit better there. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh.
No, and you know what? You know what it is, Kaan, is that I think given how people are so enthusiastic about, when like during the highs, when he's making some amazing saves and whatnot, I think it's important to also at least, for the record, make note of the lows. Because, he's not a flawless keeper, and there will be a day when he needs to be replaced. I mean, he's not young. He's no spring chicken.
No, he's
as they say.
36, so...
Yeah. So there's going to be a day where he needs to be replaced, and we're all going to have to kind of size up, like, oh, are we going to be able to move past this guy? And I think, it'll be important for people to be realistic about what we're replacing. He's a good keeper, but he's not flawless to the extent that I think a lot of people view him at the moment.
Let's get to some of the comments in the meantime, maybe, Sinan, and then we can go to the stats after.
Great idea. Yeah, I think you're right. One thing we didn't do, Kaan, before we left the starting 11 screen is give our man of the match, though. Want to do that later, I guess? We'll do that later. Anyway, so, of course, Mario Vargas says, yo, what up, Eagles? I'm buzzing. We all are. And then he, by the way, said thanks, Kaan, for the shout-out early on. Grey Wolf, thank you for the sound stuff. We needed that. So you kind of helped us. And then he mentioned we were muted as well. So Grey Wolf finally says, I don't think that was a penalty, but like you said, why take the risk? And yeah, I mean, from Emirhan, just clumsy. On the one hand, like everything you love about Emirhan, like how later on in the match he fought. Who was that again? Was that Barış Alper? No, it was Osimhen. There was that little exchange between them.
Scuffle.
He was like,
yeah.
But you love that he'll kind of stand his ground. He's not gonna like wuss out just because it's like a quote unquote big star who's yelling at him.
No, and I mean I think
he's also
he had
a
him in
big
his pocket
point
again.
on that end.
It's
sure.
second game. I mean I know Osimhen scored in that game in their stadium on a set piece, but from open play, both Felix and mainly Emirhan had him in his pocket. And today I think Emirhan did a great job, and then so did Paulista, of course, at containing. What is if you look at it, Morata Osimhen, that's an impressive duo up top, and that's also why.
And I want to make note of Paulista too. Like I really feel like what we saw from him today was kind of what we were seeing early on in the season. Where you have a defender where when he's healthy and when he's locked in and engaged, he is potentially better than Davinson Sanchez. Granted, he's not. No. Davinson Sanchez is younger and more athletically inclined. But Paulista is a hell of a central defender. And his positional ability, his ability to make those interceptions, those key ones in the back. He's pretty savvy with his passing. I really thought Paulista was fantastic. And it was good to see him out there again.
You go a little far for me there, sorry.
I know you love Davinson.
I mean, it's not about loving. I think he's a dirty player at times, but I think he's better than any other central defender in the league right now. So just calling it how I see it. Paulista is
it's fair. It's not like you're inclined to defend Galatasaray players. I know it's
exactly.
It's fair. Like I agree, Davinson's great. I'm just like, and I would agree with you in that Davinson's younger and offers more for the club. In an existential sense, like he could be their rock in the back for the next 5 years, and nobody would blink an eye, all right? Like you almost expect it unless he gets another shot at the Premier League or something. Whereas Gabriel Paulista, I mean, you're kind of lucky if he's healthy as things are, much less like a year or two from now. So, anyway, where are we? We've got Grey Wolf. Will Cheeto be on the bench for the rest of the season? Was he on the bench today or was he out? I thought maybe he was injured.
No, I think he was on the bench. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was on the bench. I think it was a tactical decision. But it's interesting to see that Sebi comes on, Mustafa comes on, Chiro doesn't come on. I did think that, in those last 10 or so minutes when he put Mustafa on, I was surprised by that decision because I think you want to have some players with some gamesmanship, some experience. So I would have put Chiro on in that situation. But yeah, I mean, I think that what Grey Wolf is saying and the question, a different iteration of the question he has asked many times, I feel. But, I don't think...
Now it's actually relevant.
Yeah, I do not think that there's any chance that Chiro will not play anymore. But, I think this was a tactical decision. The lineup was a tactical decision. I think when he put on Mustafa, he probably wanted to put someone on who would just, run after every ball. Although I do have to say, when Semi came on, there were a couple of occasions where I'm like, why are you jogging? You should be putting pressure on the ball instead of jogging.
I mean, he did some good things too. You know, you don't want to take away from his performance entirely, but yeah, I
Got
agree.
sent
Like, there was
off.
moments.
What did you think of that? Because I thought that was a pretty harsh VAR intervention because I don't see a stretched leg. It's a tackle from behind. It's a high foot, but like his foot goes down. I don't even know if he makes like proper contact with the studs. I thought that was a yellow card at most. I didn't think that was a red card. I don't know what you thought, but that felt harsh.
I thought it was harsh. In a way, it was like, well, they can't, like, now we can be like, well, we were both a man down. Of course, it's total bullshit to play that game because they were man down for like 60 minutes. But it was definitely harsh. And I felt like it was, again, kind of the ref trying to, like, I don't know, even out the odds late in the game, kind of like add a little more like excitement to it even. I mean, which, I don't know. But again, perhaps that's a little narrative on my end, but it just felt like, yeah, they made a meal out of that. I mean, you saw the way Galatasaray guys were like trying to bring attention to it. You had a sense that the refs were going to look at it again. And it was only because of Galatasaray's whining. You know, I don't even know that they would have otherwise, but whatever. It was what it was at the end. Like, in a way, at least people like on that side can't whine too much about the refs when you take into account things like that, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, back to those comments.
Yeah.
So I also don't think to answer that question from Grey Wolf, I don't think Cheeto's gone for the rest of the season by any stretch. I will say though that in the same way that Semi didn't give us a reason to not play Cheeto, right? The way things panned out here and like maybe trying to play with a false nine and all that kind of, you know, there's more of a positive thing to go for here than there was with just Semi as the alternative. So I'll grant you that maybe we'll see a little bit less of Cheeto or in certain scenarios we'll see less of Cheeto, but it's hard for me to imagine Cheeto not playing or even starting really for the bulk of these last few matches. Carlito back again. Mr. Finance over here. Good evening. Oh, congrats on the win. The team kept our record. I am at ease for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
The team kept our record.
Yeah, our TEK NAMAÞLUP ŞAMPİYON, bro. We are the only Invincibles to have won the Turkish Super League.
Okay, there we go. Oh, I see. Duh.
It's literally the title of the episode.
Yeah. Right. I didn't even see the title of the episode.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, sure. I don't know how much of a deal this is for younger fans, maybe, but like for me, I've been like every week that they didn't lose, it's been on my mind, man. It's been on the forefront of my mind for quite a while because. You know, the first half of the season finishing that unbeaten, that has happened before. But I feel like they were just winning every game with relative ease, and if they weren't, they were getting the necessary help. When Fenerbahce didn't beat them, you know, like it's like, who can you trust to beat these bastards? So we had to do it ourselves, and I think that just, you know, that adds a little bit to. Who else but us? Yeah, exactly. That adds a little bit to the romance. Let's say we don't beat them today, and in like 8 match days or something, they lose to Konyaspor or whatever. It'll, I mean, yeah, but I think it's just so much more shiny and it's so much more. The taste of it is so much better because we were the ones that got to hand them their first defeat. It's a really big deal. I know I'm not the only one. I know in the group chat, some people, including Carlito, I think some other people were really. That was really on the forefront of a lot of people's minds that we had to stop their unbeaten run because we cannot allow them to beat our record. Whether they win their 25th championship this season or not, there's not much we can do about that because we are so far back. But I don't. The last thing that most of us wanted, I think, who were thinking about this, at least, was to see them do it, but then also do it unbeaten. And, you know, realistically, I think they still have to go to Trabzon, so there's a chance that they lose that game. But, you know, how motivated are Trabzon going to beat them when they're in a title race with Fenerbahce? On top of that, you know, Trabzon are just not good this season. So, you know, I think we were the closest thing to a serious threat that they had remaining in their schedule. So I'm very happy we did it, and I'm not the only one, clearly.
And one point that's worth mentioning is that they are actually on the road against Samsun in their next league match. So that could be great for us. Either way, actually, either the title race is blown wide open, and we're still just a point behind these guys who I suspect we can still pass now, or we're that much closer to third place, if not in it. Anyway, so yeah, that's fun. There's a lot of fun to this, honestly, and not to mention, I think perhaps most of all, our performance, which I thought was, you know, I didn't know what to expect given what we've come from, right? Those previous two matches were terrible. You know, and especially when they went down a man, I thought, oh my freaking God, here we go again. and then Galatasaray scores.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like this is literally what.
Yeah.
This is it.
I mean, that's even what Solskjaer said after the game. He said, like, I don't like to play against 10 men. Because, you know, and you know, he's right. And, I felt very similar as well, because honestly, I thought we were playing well. We started the game off well, but I mean, we weren't getting any huge chances. I mean, Rafa's goal was really the first threat on goal, and then they get their red card when we score. We scored a second, but it get disallowed correctly. And then really after that second goal, I feel like we took the foot off a little bit again, and yeah, we just allow them back in the game, and that's a mistake we keep on repeating. But also, you just see again that this is a team that does seem to pick their moments and their matches, and that is probably part of the reason why we are in the predicament we're in the league. I mean, because if you look at it, we've beaten Galatasaray in the Super Cup 5-0. We beat Lyon away. We beat Fenerbahce at home. We beat Athletic Bilbao 4-1 at home, and now we're beating Galatasaray and we beat Trabzonspor. So we are in these big matches. We are doing quite well this season, and we have.
You know, honestly, dude, I literally, and I don't want to forget my thought on this, because I was sitting at the end of the game and we were like about to win. We had the 2-1 lead. It was like the 94th minute or something, and like they were still trying to waste time for some reason. It was weird. Just whining so much with these lions, these pussycats. But it was just bizarre to me to have watched this game and to see how well we played for much of it, really, except, as you say, for those little phases after they scored, especially after the first goal. I thought after the second goal we were slightly less capitulatory. You know, I mean, there was a moment there where it looked like we laid out, but then like I said, then we started to press again. I wonder if maybe there was an instruction from Ole, but
in the second half, I never really had the feeling that they were gonna score. But the problem with that is that they only needed like one position, right?
Yeah, you just never know. One free kick, right? And there's one late where I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when that penalty situation happened. I was like, oh, this is how it's gonna happen, isn't it? They're gonna get a penalty and then they're gonna score it, and we're not gonna find the third goal. And it felt so typical for Beşiktaş, but it didn't happen. You are very critical of this referee. So of course, you know, there was a whole thing about the ref, and this is not a good referee. This is the same referee that screwed up against Alanyaspor a couple of years ago when Valérien Israël was the coach, when we had the 3-0 lead and he gave that ridiculous red card to Emre Can. This is the same referee that a year or two ago, when Weghorst was like through and got fouled, and it should have been a red card, he gave the foul against Weghorst, which was ridiculous. This is the same referee that actually tends to vanity search his own name and sue fans. So be careful what you write, Galatasaray fans. But you know what? If you wanna, actually, you know what? No, don't sponsor this guy. Don't write anything stupid, because he will go after you and he will sue you. He's done it to other people, people that we know. And hopefully, he won't be making any extra money off of the back end of this performance. I didn't think it was a terrible performance on his part. Yes, I agree, the red card for Barış Alper definitely should have happened. But all in all, if we look at our stats, there wasn't like...
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, and he wasn't like throwing the yellows around like crazy. We got 3 yellow cards and I don't even remember which ones, honestly. Svensson got 1 yellow card, and
Well, don't forget Masuaku, right, with the whole
right.
thing.
So Masuaku, and who got the 3rd yellow card? I don't even.
Let's see. Svensson, Masuaku, and Rashica got 1 in extra time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, didn't even know.
Maybe talking back.
Oh
to the
no!
ref or
That was for the corner kick. He was supposedly wasting time on taking the corner.
Exactly.
Now I remember. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the stats scene, and then we can continue with the comments and our thoughts on the match. But I feel I'm sorry. I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place right now.
No. I mean, it's a hectic world we live in right now. What was I going to say about that? The Rashica. Oh yeah, about how generally I thought, although we could have and probably even should have been wasting time, I actually thought we were quite respectful and there was a moment where I was like, man, we should have probably wasted more time because these refs are still going to give them 10 minutes. And so when I saw they only gave 5, I thought, wow, okay, I think maybe they even recognized that. For the most part, we were quite respectful. I saw Svensson rush to take a throw in, even though again we're up a goal and have every reason to sort of not be doing that. So yeah, I thought we were. I like our professionalism. Anyhow, to the stats: 53% of the ball for Beşiktaş to their 47. Of course, we had an extra man, so you expect that to some extent. Although I will say that I think the first half stats were very different. With Galatasaray having much more of the ball, and of course, they had 11 players for much of the first half.
I'll have a look at it if you want. Let me see.
You can put it up there.
No, I'm just gonna say what it was. I'm not gonna bother with the graphic.
I can do that.
Yeah, you're right.
They had 54%.
Exactly, and they had 0.11 xG. So actually, in the second half, they got 0.26 xG, so they got more xG in the second half than they did in the first half. That's surprising to me.
Same.
Yeah. You know what? Actually,
but it speaks to how we were. Honestly, I think a lot of people were saying this. We were a better side when it was 11-on-11 than when, at least for the rest of that first half. And obviously there's a little dramatization involved in that narrative. But the second half was a lot better for us. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we led in possession, 53-47. We had a 2.05 xG to their 0.37, which also shouldn't really shock anyone, especially when you see that we had 20 shots, their 9, 6 on target to their 3, 3 big chances to their none, and 1 big chance missed to their 0. And I think you really can't, it's so easy to overlook the value of having a solid back line. And, we lost Udokai and we thought, my God, what are we going to do? And just, look, this is, we've got some solid defenders on this team. Credit to them. We completed 285 passes, 285, at an 82% rate. They completed 242 at a 79% rate. Which I think speaks in part to what you were saying, Kaan, is, they were trying a lot of long balls, especially later on in this match. They were kind of, not as...
But also, if you look at that, overall, that's very few passes between the two teams, right? Because usually you have, one team going, 400, close to 500, and then one team, 160, 200. And now you have about, what is it, a little bit over 500.
285 to 242.
Yeah, so a little bit over 500 passes between the two teams. That feels like, usually that's 600-700. So that feels low, which maybe implies that the ball was out of play a lot. But did you feel that this was a game where it was stop and go all the time? The ref was...
Not really. maybe at times, but I mean, I think a lot of it was also in that first half. There was a lot of trepidation, and it felt like people were very afraid to make a mistake. And although I thought we were the better side, there was a certain tentativeness, I guess, about them. So maybe people were kind of on the ball in the back a little bit, kind of weighing where to put it, and very, afraid to they weren't gunning for long balls initially. And then, as everyone got more confident, and of course, obviously, then when they went down a man, everything went in flux. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if anyone in the comments has a better analysis than that, go for it. Anyway, they committed 23 fouls to our 14, which is about right. We were offsides 4 times to their 3.
So 14 fouls versus 23, and the card stat is exactly the same.
Yeah, miraculous. Absolutely miraculous.
Double the fouls.
And we can think of at least 2 more yellow cards they should have had.
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, Sarah should have definitely had one. Barishalpa should have had a second.
Torreira could have had one as well for the first half. Yeah. Anyway, we had 9 corners to their 3, which speaks to a certain type of positional dominance or whatever. I think we were probably at in their side of the pitch for much longer than they were.
Yeah, and worth mentioning as well, Sinan, that we actually score our second goal, not directly, but indirectly coming off of a set piece. That's something that we should be celebrating, right?
Absolutely.
Richard Hart is at work there. His set piece work with the team.
Yeah, and we could probably have this discussion when we start talking about man of the match and whatnot, but we've got to talk about how João Mario had 2 assists today. Assisted both goals. So anyway, so they won 54 duels to our 50, so they had the edge, 52-48, which, again, you'd expect with us having more of the ball, with us having 20 shots, right? They'd have more. They'd be in positions to be winning duels, right? Like with their back against the wall, far more than us. So that could be explained by that. On the ground, we actually won. We had 45 ground duels, won to their 38, so we won 54% of them.
Yeah, it's the aerial duels that gives them the edge in the overall.
Which you expect, right?
Yeah.
In our first outing, that's pretty much where we lost the game. But yeah, aerial duels, they won 16 to our 5, so they won 76% to our 24. And then dribbles, they won 7. They had 7 successful dribbles, completing them at a 44% rate. So I'm guessing that's 7 out of 16 or 15 or something. We only completed 38% of ours, so we completed 6 out of 15 or something, or 16. I don't know. And as you already mentioned, Kaan, 3 yellow cards apiece and 1 red card apiece. They should have had more yellow cards. We probably shouldn't have had a red card, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
what's done is done.
Yeah, the comments in the chat, I saw a couple of people who seemed to think it was a red, and some that maybe think it was a little harsh. So let's get to these comments, Sinan. Let's see what people have to say about some of the tumultuous positions. Also, guys, let us know about that goal, because I mean, the first goal by Rafa, because you just mentioned, Sinan, that João Mario gets 2 assists, but I do think. The first
one is
calling that an assist is kind of a stretch, because Rafa does it all, right? Like he has I think it was a 60+ meter run, beats Davinson Sanchez, beats Muslera, scores a fantastic goal, and then the second one, I think that was a cracked shot by João Mario that ends up in front of the foot of Gedson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
statistically, he might be getting 2 assists statistically there, but it's not like he was those weren't brilliant assists or exactly. Yeah. It wasn't Pirlo.
No, and that's why I was sort of laughing when I mentioned it, because they were questionable assists. I almost I wish that they recorded hockey assists, the pass before the assist, and then that they gave those type of assists, like those ones where really the guy creates it himself. You actually make that a hockey assist, because really, in a way, Rafa Silva creates his own goal, whether it's with a pass or not. Anyway, back to the comments. Where were we? Khan 2.0? No, wait, Mert. Hi. Did we already do Carlito? Good evening. Yes. Okay, yes. So Mert. This might be a new Mert, actually. If so, welcome to the squad. Hi. I think that's why he does the hi with the exclamation. I like the fact that we are destroying Gala at home for many years. Yeah, that's something to like. I think that's something we probably haven't even talked about it enough. But yeah, it's we do well.
We suffered our first and only loss against them last season, right? At home, you know, that's the first time they ever won at the Tupra Stadium. So, you know, the stadium's been open for going on a decade. Next season it will be a decade. So in 9 seasons they've won 1 match there. I think we won 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we have a good home record against them, and it's nice to see that continue, and long may it continue, you know. But I mean, if ever they were gonna get back-to-back wins in our stadium, I think it would have probably been now, because let's be honest, we've been pretty terrible this season. But yeah, in these big matches, I don't think we played a great game. I don't think they played. I don't think it was a great game. Honestly, I thought it was a pretty bad game, personally. But yeah, in these big games, we just managed to find something. And of course, you know, the circumstances of the match are also in our favor. You know, with the red card and stuff like that. But you know, that's their problem, and we forced the red card essentially. You know, Frankowski doesn't have to make a clumsy challenge there, so we forced that. So you know, I think we deserve to win, but it wasn't a pretty. I wouldn't say it was a pretty win necessarily.
Bless you, Aiden. If you
you heard that in the background. Okay.
Yeah, I did. Where were we?
Mertz.
I saw Sally commenting. That was good. Kaan 2.0. Hey guys, always a pleasure to see you. You too, Kaan. And I like that he notes that Kartal is missing. You're missed, Kartal, if you're listening.
Yeah, Kartal is on vacation right now. He's in Turkey at the moment, so that's why he isn't present.
Yeah. For the Bayram holiday, his wife's family. Blah, blah, blah,
and of course, you know,
everything that everyone can understand.
Bayramlar to everyone who celebrates and enjoy your festivities with your family and your loved ones. Yeah, and a great Bayram gift for us Beşiktaş fans. This win, of course.
That's right. And I'm hoping to have a Schwarting report as a little bonus gift. We'll see if I can get that done in time. Anyhow, back to the comments. We've got TT No Face, who is back. You know, we've seen you before. I still don't know what the nickname refers to. I thought it was like a Turk Telecom arena thing, but I agree. He should have saved that shot. We're talking about merit, obviously, on the Torreira goal. And then Con 2.0 says, can't let the guy who shot from different time zone. You can't let the guy who shot from a different time zone score, which we did allow, sadly. Yeah, like we said, it's sort of on merit. It's sort of on, you know, whoever should have been pressing Torreira. And it's also, you know, in part, look, hell of a shot. Well done, you little Uruguayan pitbull. Continuing on. Grey Wolf, we need a replacement keeper now. Yeah. I mean, you're not entirely wrong.
Yeah,
I mean soon.
You know,
at very least soon.
I think hopefully, you know, they'll be scouting for a replacement in the long run. That would be great. Because of course he is a little older.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not like he'd be the first on the list of things that you'd have to like go looking for in the summer, but he's on the list. It's on the list. I'd say probably like 5th or 6th priority. Anyway, continuing. Con 2.0, red was valid, I think. The red, yeah, for sure. Grey Wolf, I think at worst a yellow. Oh, we're talking about the semi one, maybe. I think at worst a yellow for semi. Grey Wolf says, I think at least at worst a yellow for semi, but why take the risk? Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a stupid tackle. That's what semi is like. He's got the stupid, hot-headed tackles of Quaresma without the Trivela, you know, without the good parts. I mean, he's got, I hope they're a little good.
Without the Trivela, without the Rabona, without a lot of it. Yeah.
This turns into a semi moment. So Merit, the new Merit, semi is a bit slow and has short legs, I think he needs to stay away from slide tackles, especially from behind. He constantly gets yellow cards after being subbed on. Yeah, that's sort of what we're talking about there with the Quaresmatics, if you will. Hi, Retin Akun. Good to see you back, sir. Says Rafa's on fire. Man, yeah, that goal. We should probably. I mean, boy, I almost wish we could get a copyright strike just to show you guys again. No, let's not do it. I shouldn't. No, I'm a bad influence.
Yeah.
Heidetin follows it up. There's only one undefeated champ. Black Eagles. That's right, sir. To be honest, I was scared when Galatasaray got a red card. We don't have a very good reputation against teams with players who are sent off. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. In fact, we had a terrible couple of results recently with that. So, yeah, I mean, I think I even commented in our official group chat. Which, by the way, everyone, first of all, let me just say quickly: like, follow, subscribe, check out our Patreon. We haven't done this in a while, Tom. But also, our group chat is hopping as usual. And yeah, it was in there where I said basically that same thought of yours. Let's see, where was I? Grey Wolf. The team does not know how to close out the opponent, especially when they have an advantage. Yeah, that's what you were talking about, Kaan, earlier too. So you think the ref's performance was due to all of the ref controversy leading up to the game, the extra pressure, and Adala having the live response from the foreign referee?
I think
Refs
so.
never get yellow cards for time wasting, mostly to keepers, and only they are given multiple warnings. That was a BS yellow. That's against Rashica. Yeah, I agree. I think that was weird. Especially because, like I said, I thought we were actually probably even almost excessively respectful as far as time wasting goes.
Yeah. I mean, we were wasting time in the sense of, we were taking short corners and short free kicks at the end.
Yeah,
and we weren't.
But like,
yeah. I know what you mean. We were keeping the ball in play. We weren't keeping it out of play for excessively long, and that corner didn't take particularly long. But I do think that the ref called it relatively down the middle, and I think that is because of all the drama going into this. I think they could have gone multiple ways with this. Of course, they could have deliberately had an absolute shit show with the referee, so that a large part of the country is distracted and to give them a distraction. I definitely thought that was a scenario that was possible. The other scenario was as well that they're going to do like the opposite. So they're going to do what they normally don't do. They're going to screw Galatasaray for a change, something that almost never happens. That didn't happen, I think. I think he called it relatively down the middle. And I,
better than you expect, right?
And now, because now I think Hajos Manolo, the president of the federation, can come out and say, "Oh, see, Turkish referees, Beşiktaş, they're fine. You just won, blah blah blah blah blah." And then
especially since Galatasaray still realistically got the title in their hands.
Yeah. I mean, now
realistically, I mean they could fumble the bag.
They'd have to drop points at least twice more, right? And then Fenerbahce cannot.
We'll have to do some heavy lifting.
And Fener can't afford to drop any points, so
Are we basically? Do we have any other tough matches this season? By the way,
Fener away. We have Fener away still.
We do have Fener still. Oh, so we could actually ruin everyone's title chances.
We can play the title decider for sure. I mean, in a sense.
The spoiler.
With this win, we have essentially now given Fenerbahce hope again because they dropped points right before the international break. They drew against Samsunspor at home. So the virtual gap was 6 points again because Galatasaray have a game more. But now with this, the virtual gap is 3 points. So in theory, if Galatasaray drops points twice, because they have the head-to-head with Fenerbahce, so if Galatasaray drops points twice and Fenerbahce doesn't drop points, then Fenerbahce could be champions. But I have to be honest. I mean, I think if you don't manage to beat your direct opponent, which they failed to do twice, Fenerbahce lost at home and then they couldn't beat them in the second game. I don't know if you deserve the championship, honestly, because those, yeah.
I hear that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me too. At least it should ring hollow if they do win it. There will be a slight asterisk. I'm sure they'll take it anyway, but
of course, they'll take it. Of course, they'll take it.
Yeah. Back to the comments.
It wouldn't be a massive scandal either, because Galatasaray have gotten so many points this season with bad officiating. I think, I mean,
I would love to see it. Frankly, let's be serious. I wouldn't mind to see it at all.
Fenerbahce could have been on top of the table without winning a derby. I mean, and technically so far, they've played 3 derbies and they've not won a single one. So they if they win the championship, there's a chance that they do so without winning a single derby if they don't beat us. So, yeah.
Although if they don't beat us, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, if they don't beat us, they probably, yeah.
I mean, that could be fun, honestly. I'm enjoying the role of spoiler, at least. That's one little fun thing we can do for the rest of the season, is just ruin everyone else's lives. Anyway, not to be a sociopath or anything. So where were we? Heidetin says, to be honest, I was scared. We already did that. Grey Wolf, refs, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Heidetin again. The most important stat is expected goal, I believe. Yeah, the XG was very much in our favor. The Vigilante Turk is back. He goes, Beşiktaş with shades. Oh, look at that.
Hayretin Akdam super chatted €1 and 80 cents. Rafesma.
I'll just read it out first. He says, Rafaresma, which I couldn't agree with anymore. Yeah.
Do you guys follow?
Did you have that? By the way, real quick follow up to Rafaresma. You saw that he successfully had that Trivela pass. That it didn't come off in the end because we didn't score up it or anything, but he did kind of make up for the fumbled one last week.
The Rabona. But I don't know if you guys followed on Instagram. I think his account name is Safe or something. Like, he's this guy that does these funny impressions of fans. And he was at a Beşiktaş game recently. I don't remember which one it was, but he was sitting in the stands. He was filming himself. I think Rafa scored or something, and he went like, Rafa Rejma. So.
Maybe we needed you to do the reading on that one. Where were we? Rafa is Kantu Bueno says Rafa is the messiest player this league has ever had, and of course he means that as a compliment because I believe he's speaking of the Messi, the one and only Messi, not Messi, Messy. But yeah, I mean he's fantastic, man. Rafa Silva, you can't. I think today he kind of entered that. I mean, we can't say S tier yet, especially with my rules about only one season. But certainly, fantastic output today in a huge match.
Second derby goal for him.
Mm-hmm.
So big match. He's a big match player, man. I mean, you can't expect him to decide every game, but I think he's one of the players that stands up in the big games. But I mean, man of the match, and please let us know in the comments, guys. And again, Hayratin, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. But for me, the man of the match, I think, and especially based on the second half, I think I gotta kind of give it to Gedson, man. I think Gedson was really hardworking.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Rafa was, amazing goal, and had some really, silky moves like he always does. But I don't know if...
All right, time out. Kaan, let's do this first. Let's think of 4 candidates who could be our man of the match. Let's put it to the group, and then we'll give our own answers. So as you mentioned, you've got to certainly put him on that list, right?
Yeah. So Rafa, Gedson, João Mario, I guess, because he gets 2 assists. And then
I'm going to throw Paulista on the list.
All
I'm
right.
going to throw Gabriel Paulista.
All right. Yeah.
Kantu, but no, don't apologize for the messiest. I appreciate a good play on words. I liked it. So Kaan has basically already signaled who he's going to vote for, but we'll come back on this. So for the rest of you guys in the comments, vote. Those are your 4 choices. You've got Rafa Silva, Gedson Fernandes, João Mario, and Gabriel Paulista. And if there's someone else you're voting for, you better tell us who it is, because otherwise we have no idea.
And why.
And why, yeah. Give us a little info for sure.
Yeah.
Because those feel like the obvious candidates. Anyway, back to the comments. We've got Hayretin Akun. Totally agree with you, Kaan. Not sure what that's about, but I probably did too. Grey Wolf, were you surprised Kenny wasn't subbed in?
Yeah, kind of was.
I was.
Yeah.
Especially for me, Rashica was, again, not very impressive.
And especially when Mustafa came on as well, right? Like, I was surprised he put Mustafa on. I thought it was a little risque by Ole to put Mustafa on in a game you're only leading by 1, and I don't know. I wonder if Seda Abdallah or anyone in the club emphasized how important it was to Ole and the team that we would win this game. Because obviously, this match was more for honor. This wasn't a game particularly important for us for the standings. Although, of course, we do creep in closer to Samsunspor. But I think for Beşiktaş as the club, and you could also see it by afterwards, the official Twitter account sent out a tweet. Maybe we can actually have a look at that while we keep talking. But they sent out an interesting tweet here. Oh, and I have a a song here.
Is that
wait, so
you got it all queued up.
yeah, no, it was in the comments. Put it in the comments.
It's there. It's in there.
Yeah. Let's have a look. So I think it was here. Yeah, this one. There was a tweet here. Where is it? Like,
what is this Beşiktaş remembers? Twitter. Our Twitter account is going
and
crazy.
Look at. I wish we could.
Oh, is that the Is that the one with?
Where is it? And here's the votes, by the way. So
Rashica.
They put Rashica up in there. That's interesting, right? Let's have a look. Where's the tweet, man? They've been tweeting all. NAMAÐLUP. So here, this is important. That's NAMAÐLUP TEK ŠAMPİYON.
That's a good. Oh, I love that. That's a great header right there.
I used this I used that for the picture, man, of the episode.
See, I told you I didn't see it.
Yeah, you didn't see it. God damn it, my art. And here, see, that's sort of the first tweets the club sends out. So I think that just goes to show you how important this was for a lot of people in the club and in and around the club, So
after the match, you saw Ole, his interaction with the fans. I mean, he was really lapping it up. I mean, you got the sense that he was not only just obviously taking in what would be a fantastic moment for anyone. Especially as your first in a derby in Turkey, and knowing that hearing the volume, seeing the full stadium, all of that. But you could see there was almost a recognition that he had, made people's wishes come true.
But that's what I wonder, because obviously this is a derby, and it's always important to win these, and it's always a big deal. But I wonder if it was stressed to him and to the team that this one was particularly important because those guys were on an unbeaten run, and we wanted to salvage that record because it's one of our, most prideful records in Turkish football. I mean, look at Arsenal. They had the 2004 invincible season. It's 20 plus years onwards, and they still mention it all the time. And for us, it's even more than that. It was 1991, 1992. But it's still one of the most most prideful records we hold as a Turkish club. So
as it should be, man. That's a huge.
Oh yeah, it's a massive deal. And you know what the funny thing is, Sinan? I'm gonna tell you a funny story. So we are the only team to be invincible champions. But did you know there's a team that were also invincible the entire season? Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Do you know who it was? Didn't lose a single match all season, but they did not win the league. You know who it was?
Oh my God! No, who?
Galatasaray. And guess who won? And guess who won the championship that year?
Did we win it? That's so good.
Yeah, we won it. So,
that's so good.
Not only
they did a ton of draws, I guess.
In fact, many people speculated that the later shenanigans in the early 90s where Galatasaray, with the whole match fixing, the encouragement fees, the PEDs that they paid for, performance enhancing drugs for our opponents to take against us in 92, 93, I believe it was. So apparently some of the talk around the town is that they had so much PTSD from losing the championship that season on goal differential. I believe it was goal differential, and they were unbeaten. That they had to resort to match fixing and thank you for another
Nathan Davis super chatted 46 euros and 28 cents.
Yeah,
shuddering to think about having to savor a win over unbeaten Galatasaray
no way
on
you
my
just
own
spent
without
that
the podcast and WhatsApp chat.
What happened?
Nathan, take
Hell
it
of a
back.
highlight and huge. Thanks to you
That's
for
too
all
much
the effort
money.
you put into this.
I didn't see how much it was, but
That's got to be a mistake, man. Shit.
Holy.
Thank you so much, dude.
Thank you very much, man. That's very much appreciated.
Let me read that one out.
Yeah, let's get to that one.
And if you want to correct that, by all means, do. Shuddering to think about having to savor a win over unbeaten Galatasaray on my own without the podcast and WhatsApp chat. Hell of a highlight, and huge thanks to y'all for all the effort you put into this. Nathan, we love you, man. And I have a feeling that's like some seasonal love. It was just recently the first day of the baseball season here in the U.S., so I feel like he's just especially... it's like his Christmas, I suppose. It's like the season. 'Tis the season to give. No, but thank you so much, Nathan. I mean, thank you to everyone. Obviously, like we love having such an active chat, and it's become like a highlight of for all of us. But man, I'm humbled by that, man. Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. And of course, thank you to everyone. Whether you're giving us a super chat or a super thanks or whatever. If you want to do so, please feel free. But more importantly than donating to us, and I really appreciate it because it shows how much you appreciate what we do. But go and check out the description, guys. I said it at the top of the show already, but Mario Vargas, one of our loyal listeners, is actually doing a run for underprivileged children. So it's if you sponsor him, and it starts at 250 lira, that goes to underprivileged children to afford a year of school scholarship, I guess it's called. And it starts at 250 lira, which is just like €6. And if you do so, I have given Mario a coupon code that gives you 6 months of free access to our Patreon VIP membership. So that's a special thank you from the Black Eagles podcast. If you do decide to go and support the kids, go and check that out in the description, please. But of course, Nathan, thank you so much for all the love you give us all the time, man. Long time Patreon member on YouTube. We appreciate you, my friend.
You get to pick your like tagline when I scream out all the names at the end, and I've sort of teetered between Mr. Baseball and not a Bobert vote, being that you're from Colorado. But so you can choose which one you prefer, Nathan, because of that very, very generous donation.
We should call him Sugar Daddy.
Yeah, maybe you need to full on new name, yeah. Or if you don't like either, yeah, let me know. Anyway, don't worry, by the way, Contueno. We just simply haven't gotten to that comment yet. We'll get there. Where were we? So surprised Kenny wasn't subbed in was the last one. Sally Kalkavan. Sinan. Yeah, we did that. Hide it in action. We're doing more, huh? Grey Wolf says, Adala basically guaranteed a win today. Contueno. By the way, man, here you go, Con. Man of the match candidates: Simitji, Kaveji, or Gazozji. Are these nicknames for our players? Like, what is? Am I missing?
I don't know. Simic is just someone who makes simit. Kaveji is someone who makes coffee, and Gazoz is like the
I thought maybe this was a reference because
right? I
started out the episode having an espresso in my Beşiktaş cup, and then I moved on to what looks like Gazoz here with sparkling water. But I have like I don't know if people have noticed, but like red pill, blue pill. Like if I pull on the right side or the left side, I guess for you guys, on the brown bottle is my.
What is that? What is that? Looks like a Belgian beer. What is that?
It's a beer, Kona Big Wave. Sorry, we shouldn't show that unless you pay us for sponsorship. We don't get to do that. Right. We gotta hold out for some perks. Anyway, back to the group chat. If you have group chat, that's what it feels like these days. Heidetin is laughing. TT No Face says Don Adala. Yeah, it's about how he got the ref situation sorted, I suppose. He said calling Zorbay Küçük a zibbity is classic. Who called him a zibbity? I didn't.
Ahmet Nukçibi, I was gonna say. Sena Adala did. Yeah, like he just who did he call zibbity?
Unexplained.
It was the referee from the previous game, I think, that he called the zibbity. Well, it's it's slang, I guess. It's an insult. But,
Oh, it's like Zoomer slang.
but
right?
I guess it doesn't get classified as an insult, so I guess it's you can't sue someone for it or something, because as we know, if you call people certain words, you get sued.
Oh, so you could use some of the new type of stuff. So you
I don't
feel like
know.
he has no aura. This ref has no aura. I'm gonna use some Zoomer slang to burn him.
But I mean, yeah, I definitely think, you know, I mean, a lot of people were talking about how I feel like people were being very harsh on Adale for the fact that, you know, they did go with a Turkish referee and how he wasn't able to stop that, which I think is a little harsh because, I mean, we know for such a long time, and I spoke about it on a recent VIP podcast, but how, you know, they don't even pretend anymore with Beşiktaş. They don't care. They literally throw out the rule book if it benefits them. You know, a couple of years ago, remember that semi-final or whatever it was in the cup against Fenerbahçe, where, you know, they threw stuff at Şenol Güneş, and then, you know, we went to the dressing room and the match got abandoned and all that kind of stuff. Like, according to the rule books, that game should have been abandoned. Because it was abandoned, it should have resulted in a forfeit. We refused to come out for a second game to replay the match, and because Devlet Bahçeli and Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, the president, and his right-hand man from the MHP essentially meddled and stuck their nose into football, because, you know, in Turkey everything is game, I guess, for the politicians. The TFF literally amended their own rules to force us to play that game. We refused to play it, obviously, and, you know, the irony, of course, is that we got given the forfeit defeat. But, you know, with that, I'm trying to illustrate that they'll do anything, and Beşiktaş, we don't have the power, we don't have the political influence, and I don't think you can blame Adale for that, because that's a long-lasting issue. It happened then. It happened a couple of years ago with the whole with the earthquake situation, where the games should have all been scrapped, but only the games in the second half of the season were scrapped. And we played, of course, away against Gaziantep and away against Hatay. And we only got 1 point. And Galatasaray played both those games at home, and they got 6 points. And at the end of the season, I think we lost the title by 5 points or something like that. So, you know, I mean, if all the games get cancelled, it's a very different season. And in any other league in the world, if teams step out of the league halfway through or forfeit halfway through, all the games get cancelled. But only in Turkey do they jump to the whims of a certain few and bend the rules to benefit a certain few, and they don't follow normal protocol. And, you know, it's what I'm trying to say here is it's been going on for a long time, and I don't blame Settle Adale for not being able to force a different decision, but I do think that he was very smart in the move he made by getting a foreign referee to come and you know, scrutinize the referee's performance in the derby tonight on our YouTube channel. I think that put pressure on them to at least have this referee call the game fairly, because, I mean, I know you said at the top of the show, Sinan, you didn't think he did a good job, and you think actually he did a bad job. But I thought that this was at least not. I mean, I didn't think he was terrible.
It wasn't a hatchet job.
No, exactly. And you know, like the game in their stadium, I felt that was a hatchet job, because there's three red cards that didn't get given. The ridiculously quick free kick where they score off, stuff like that. You know, that reminded me of the Bülent Yıldırım match where, you know, they get we should get the throw and they get the throw and they score off it, stuff like that. Adriano coming on, they score off. You know, Adriano's still running and they're already allowed to play and stuff like that. Like, you know, just other shenanigans that has happened in the past. So I definitely think that what Adale did had an effect. I don't think it had an effect in the sense that the referee was in our favor. But I don't think as Beşiktaş we want that. We want it to be called down the middle. And I think it was called down the middle, especially for Turkish refereeing standards.
And look, I mean, I think sometimes these things can be a little bit overblown. You know, I saw people being very critical of Adale for like, oh, why even bother doing this? Who are you even talking to? And I mean, I think you have to kind of try to hold these folks accountable. That's funny, Fatih. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, making these sort of statements is important, and yeah, hopefully it had some sort of an impact. Certainly, it seemed like there was he had to think twice about making calls that he might have wanted to give. Or I mean, like I said, when I was being critical earlier, it was mostly about those yellow cards that he obviously should have given out. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, obviously it wasn't a hatchet job, and I think you almost have to expect a hatchet job when you play Galatasaray, right? I mean, that's kind of the standard we've gotten used to. So.
Well, at least in the away games, I feel like we always get done dirty. But yeah, fortunately, I think it was okay today. I don't think.
Yeah.
Also, I think if he wanted to screw us, for example, I think he would have given a lot more extra time. It was 5 minutes extra time, but I think he would have allowed to, what game was it? Was it against Fenerbahce where they gave 6 minutes extra time and we played 9 or something like that?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And, I think, if he wanted to, it could have been a lot worse.
He could have been a dick, yeah.
Yeah.
5 minutes was exactly right. No, I mean, that's why I don't think it was, fine. He did fine. Where are we? Grey Wolf says Gedson was his man of the match. Also, he said it was posted that Okan has lost 10 times against Beşiktaş in his coaching career. Well, there you go. Heidetin, I'm glad we gave him his 10th tonight. Give him a star.
Definitely.
Heidetin Akgün says, guys, Mert got hunted 2 times from 30 meters out. 1 was invalid, but that's deficiency for him. Yeah, I mean, like we were saying earlier, he's not a perfect keeper.
That was the one that was Morata in the first half one, but that was like after the whistle. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I didn't really.
I don't think he really fully.
Did he make an effort?
That one, right?
I don't know. Like I didn't even.
I can't tell.
Yeah.
I'd like to think he didn't, but we'll let him make that call. Kaan 2.0 says Gala has also invincible second position, which is the most Fenerbahce thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was what we were talking about earlier.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah. That's why.
GG,
That's why it's important to say TEK NAMAÐLUP ŞAMPİYON, because we're the only ones that actually won the league. And that is funny that you say that it's such a Fenerbahce thing. So yeah, it is kind of like in this day and age, it definitely feels more like a Fenerbahce MO. But yeah,
it's so funny. There's gonna be a generation that just sees being a Fener, like Fener is just like perennial losers, which is just hilarious to, given where we've come from, Kaan.
I think they kind
Kaan
of
2.0. Yeah, for sure. Kaan 2.0, if you forget to read my... Oh, yeah, we do that. Nathan Davis, dealer's choice as far as Mr. Baseball or Not a Bober vote. All right. Kaan 2.0. No, it's part of the lyrics of Shinanai song. So we both screwed that one up. Kaan.
Oh, of course, yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I totally spaced on that. That's the wrong part of the song, though. That's not the one, that's not the part I wanted you to, All right.
Fatih Selimi, a new commenter. Welcome, Fatih. It's great to have you join us. Says, please spend more time criticizing Semi. He was awful. Carlito chimes in, says, Semi can thank himself for screwing his momentum and a possible chance to be in the starting 11. Starting 9. Oh, he could be the starting 9. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Fatih says, exactly. I'm not even talking about his downfall this season, especially this match. He ruined it. He could have made 5 again. I mean, if you're new, the only reason maybe we haven't bagged on Semi too much is because we've spent a lot of time doing that this season, deservedly, and so we're not at all saying you're wrong.
I think we've been critical of Semi. I mean, I do agree. I don't think he did a particularly great job when he came on. There was this one good opportunity as well that he had for scoring, and I feel like he didn't properly hit that shot. Yeah, I mean, one thing I did notice, and I'll give him credit for it, and it's something that was rumored that Solskjaer was working with it on him, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but we've been talking about this, for so long that whenever Simi gets the ball, it's like bam, head down to the ground. And I noticed that he had his head up quite a few times when he was on the ball, so kudos to Simi, he's improving.
Yeah, actually, I thought there were some glimmers of hope from him today. But for the most part, you're right, Fati.
I think
we've almost kind of written him off. To be honest, there was a point, Fati, last season. There was a point last season, Fati, where we spoke of him so glowingly. Oh, here's a good example of how glowingly we spoke of him. There he is on my freaking jersey. Yeah. And for anyone wondering, I got this jersey in that week before Semi chose number 9, but after the jersey had already been on on sale. So that's that.
Yeah.
But I will say it's become a good luck jersey. We've won the last few times I've worn it, so maybe that's what we needed.
There you go. No more Knicks headbands, only that jersey.
Oh, but Kaan, I hate to say this, but I wore Knicks shorts for the Galatasaray derby, so I think I have to wear Knicks.
Yeah, but it's the headband. It's the headband scene, and that's the bad luck.
That's true.
That's the bad luck charm right there.
Maybe that's what it is. But I gotta keep the Knicks shorts, that's for sure. Which, by the way, thank you to New York for providing a beautiful warm day where I can wear shorts, have a derby victory. The Knicks won last night. It's a lovely weekend here in the city.
It's great. We can see Sinan Schwarting.
I mean, except for everything else falling apart in this country. Sure. Yeah. Anyway, Billy Erdogan says, yeah, you win some, you lose some, right? Billy Erdogan says, what an amazing feeling. Grey Wolf, I wonder what Ole said to Gedson after the game because he jumped up with happiness. Bonus pay? I have no idea. I didn't see it. But
I didn't see that either. No, yeah. That's interesting.
Maybe it was something about because let's all not forget that Gedson played for Galatasaray, so maybe there was a little reminder of who he helped us beat. I mean, the more I think about it, Gedson really is a very viable candidate for man of the match. That goal was fantastic. Didn't he have an offsides goal? Who scored the offsides one?
That was Mucci. That was Mucci.
Mucci, that's right.
He assisted that, I think, because
I think he assisted it. Yeah, he was involved.
He was the one who was offside, but it was I saw it straight away. I thought, oh, it's offside, but then actually they showed the VAR replay, and it was very close. I am a very big proponent of VAR, but on the second goal, I was certain they were gonna disallow it, man. I was like, oh, are they gonna let it stand? And then they kicked off, and I was like, oh, it's they let it stand. So yeah. I was surprised. I thought the second goal, our second goal, was offside. But obviously it wasn't. But, from watching live, I thought they were going to disallow it, man. So that's...
I was surprised how close the offsides goal was to not being off, too. I thought he was way off when I saw it. I was like, oh, he's off, he's off, he's off. And then they had to, pull out the graphic and everything.
Yeah, it was actually pretty close. I was surprised, but that's the downside of VAR. I think it's I was so happy when Rafa scored the first goal, and I was in a weird mindset. I wasn't enjoying the game. I haven't been super hyped all day, super nervous all day. It was only the last half hour. It's in part because I tend to take my mind off of things and focus on other stuff and just try to not stress for a day, because it's stupid to stress about a football game because you have no control over it anyway. So it's better to distract yourself.
And it's not like this is a season where we're just painted in glory. You know what I mean?
And then on top of that, the situation in the country as well. That kind of
should we even be airing and all?
Yeah.
But Kaan, and now that you mentioned that, you asked me if I was surprised we won, and I never answered you, or what I expected. And I'll be 100% honest. I not only thought we were going to lose, but I thought Samson would win, because I feel like Kasım Pasha never does us any favors. Even when it comes to beating us, when it's the least helpful. So I thought we were going to not only lose today, but be dealt almost a decisive blow as far as wow, we can't even get third now. I thought it was going to be the insult to injury type of L. And so immediately, that's why I was a little different from you. I mean, I wasn't overthinking it, and I'd already kind of like chalked it off. But when I saw how we were playing initially, I thought, okay, you know what? These guys have some fight, and they gave me something to pay attention to. And then when we scored, obviously, I was getting hyped, and then I'm, calling to my daughter throughout the match, like, come here, you gotta see this. We're giving each other hugs and whatnot. So, in the end, it was a good day.
I've been strangely confident for like weeks, man. Like I think I even.
You would be. No, I would normally be. I think it's because of the waves that we've been riding, and because we sort of crested that one wave, and then we had those terrible 2 weeks recently that I had just kind of allowed myself to go into the gutter. I was just like,
the season, I feel, has taught us that even if we're terrible, we can still peak on these big matches. And again, I didn't think we played a particularly good game. I don't think it was as bad as the Fenerbahce game, but obviously the circumstances are different as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think I even said it in our group chats on WhatsApp. I even think I said a couple of weeks ago, I think, we're going to win this match. And I felt confident about it. I don't know what it was. It was kind of like but I wasn't like. That's maybe part of the reason why I wasn't too stressed, because but at the same time, I felt confident that we were probably gonna win it. But at the same time, I was like, but if we don't, who's gonna beat these fuckers? And that was kind of gnawing at me. That was the only thing that kind of gnawing at me. But the problem is as well, like, for me, this game, it didn't really matter all that much if we lost it or if we drew, because it would be the same. Because for me, the only thing that mattered in this game was winning. Because of how important I think it is that we are the only remaining Invincibles. No,
I love that. And that's why I had that Samsung game like so quick on the draw, because I had been looking that up, like before the match. I was like, all right, so if we lose this, like what's But so like I'm with you on that. Like anyway, but so that finally answers that question that we started to bring things full circle, I suppose. Anyway, last few comments in the chat. We have a few. Where were we? Fatih said maybe it's unlucky. Oh, we did the semi stuff. Oh no, actually this is new. So yeah, Billy Erdogan said, what an amazing feeling. Grey Wolf, I wonder what all this. Oh, we did that. Yeah. Then Kantup, yeeps. That's the reaction I was hoping for with the joke. Sorry, we didn't get it at first. Fatih says, thank you for the welcome. Love you guys. Maybe it's unlucky for Semi that he has set the bar so high, or that he did set the bar so high early on in his career.
I don't know though, because it doesn't help. I think he set the bar high. You're right in that, Fatih. But I think if he did not, I think we'd be looking at this guy isn't special. I think we would
just whatever. Maybe that would have been more of a realistic. Maybe it could have helped him. I guess what you're saying.
I think, of course, you can look at it both ways. You can look at it. He set the bar really high for himself. Now the expectations are high, but on the other end of the spectrum, I think if he would be playing the way he's playing right now, I don't think he would be playing. I think he would have been loaned out. Maybe he would have gotten sold on the cheap. So
we'd have a backup striker.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know. I mean, if he would have played on this level last season, I think he would have played a lot less. And I don't think we would be viewing him as highly as we are right now. And I think right now, at least, we've seen what he's capable of. And I think the club is going to invest more in him in terms of playing time and all that kind of stuff, and give him a chance to rebound. Whereas if he wouldn't have put that bar as high as he has before, I think we would be maybe looking at discarding him already. So I don't think it is a bad thing for him. I think he just needs to get off his ass and improve now.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. Either way, whether it's with us or on loan somewhere, I mean, that might still benefit him, honestly, but we'll see where things are going into next season as far as the window goes. Nathan says, thanks for the reminder to support Mario too. Yeah, and why not just give you a third, folks? Support Mario. We'll put the link in our episode bio.
Yeah, it's in there already, so you can
for that.
go.
Oh, it's already there.
It's in there.
Hit it up. Although wait till we're done. We're almost done, folks. Stay tuned.
You can do it at the same
Just
time.
a little longer.
If you're watching on the computer or something, multitask.
If you're on the computer,
yeah, but definitely go and.
On the phone, it's difficult.
I mean, if you have YouTube Premium, you can do it.
Ooh, I should. I've been looking. I have to think about investing in like Spotify or YouTube or one of these things because I'm like working enough nowadays, and I'm walking around the city and I'm listening to music on my headphones, and I feel like the ads are just killing me.
You know what the thing is with YouTube Premium, man? I have it and I've had it for the longest time. I think it's overpriced. I don't think it's worth what they're charging for it, which is like $11.99 or something. But I canceled it once, and I watch so much YouTube. I didn't even realize how much YouTube I watch, and the ads are, once you've gone without,
once you get used to it,
you can't go back. It's like, oh, I have to get this, and it's begrudgingly because I think it's way too expensive, but I do pay for it. I think Spotify, maybe. I don't know.
It's not very expensive. It's like $5 a month or something.
I don't know. I constantly get emails from Spotify like, oh, 3 months free, 3 months free. I've never taken them up. But actually, exciting for us when you mentioned it, we are not live, but on delay, our video. You will be able to not just listen to our podcast on Spotify, but you will be able to watch our podcast on Spotify, because we have joined the Hooligan Soccer Network, and they are a preferred Spotify partner. So if your preference is listening on Spotify to our podcasts, you can now watch us. You might have to deal with some ads though if you aren't a premium member on Spotify. So,
could be a reason for me to get that. There you go. So I can listen to us in my off time. I do that, honestly. There are times when I'm doing dishes, I'll be like, let me see how we sound. Anyway, where was I? Thanks for the reminder to support Mario. Yeah, Semi was not totally... So Kaan 2.0 took our side on this one. He said, Semi was not totally shit. I think he had the correct cross runs and so on. Yeah, I mean, he made a couple decent touches on the ball. He fought through, physical Galatasaray side pretty competently, I thought, at times. So yeah, I mean, all in all, we agree with you, Fatih. Don't look at this like we're disagreeing necessarily. Certainly, he's not what he should be, given what we've seen early on.
Of course, we have to expect much more from Simi, and I think next season, depending on what happens, whether he gets sold in the summer or if he stays, if you look at where he is right now, he could probably do well with staying another season. However, I think next season his playing time could be more limited, because if he doesn't improve, I don't think he really deserves much more playing time. So perhaps leaving is a better option, but yeah, it needs to be worth it for Beşiktaş as well. He's still only 19, so I don't think the potential money we could have gotten for him will be diminished that much, because I think, clubs that are looking at him and who are following him and will like him, they realize he's only 19 years old. So, but
the hope for an upturn or whatever. Yeah.
But right now, he's not where he should be.
Billy Erdogan says, let us all gently scratch the like button, or just smash it outright. Hulk smash it. Why not? Fatih selling me again. Do you guys think Mert made a mistake on the Torreira goal? It's a shame they scored. We lost tremendous momentum there. We talked about this earlier, Fatih, so I would recommend when we're done here, listen to the whole podcast. But to summarize, we thought he was out of position. He was way too advanced. Yeah. With that said, that wasn't entirely what it was about, right?
I think press
Torreira.
I think Gedson should have pressed the ball more, and I think Mert takes like a little step right before he shoots, which is weird, and I think he's also a little bit too much. Goes the wrong direction. I think he's also a little bit too much to his left. I definitely think that he might have been able to save it if his positioning was a little bit better, but you also have to give credit to the quality of the shot. And, I think we're nitpicking if we're blaming Mert. Yeah. But, yes, I do think he had a little bit of a responsibility there, yes. I don't think it's unsavable. It's not a shot that goes perfectly in the corner or anything like that. it's not unsavable, but it was a great shot. I mean, in my opinion,
agree.
In my humble opinion, who am I? It's not like I'm a goalkeeper or anything, so I'm just a fan.
Well, I am. No, I'm kidding. I was a terrible goalkeeper as a kid.
Sally is a goalkeeper. Maybe he can comment on it if he's still here.
He seems to be more of a chorus singer these days. Where were we? Fatih, do you guys think... Oh, we did that. Grey Wolf. I would have been completely bummed for a long time if they lost today. Yeah, it would have been hard.
Imagine losing another game where we're up.
Especially...
Up
yeah, exactly. Kaan 2.0. Some say Davinson is still sliding towards the sea. Please let us know if you find him. He can't swim. I really do want it. I need a still frame. Someone out there, get me a still frame of that look he's making as he slides past Rafa and realizes he's still standing. There's gold in there, I swear.
Yeah. That's a great goal, man. That was it reminded me a little bit of Olcay's goal in Kadıköy in the 3-3 with where we gave away a 3-1, I think, a 3-1 lead because Necip insisted on taking a second yellow or a red card right after coming on. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy we won the game not only because of all of the stuff we already talked about, but also because if we don't win this match, I feel like that's a special goal that kind of just would kind of get forgotten a little bit, and I feel like that's a goal. That goal deserved to be involved in a winning,
memorialized.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Ofus Aure, good to see you back, man. I remember you popping up a few episodes ago. Says it's still plenty of time to get to third spot, but it would be great to win the cup. Let's be greedy. Would be a good end to the season. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Oh, yeah. And now, I mean, plenty of time to get third. But yeah, I mean, we're really just theoretically, if we can win that game in hand, just 1 point back. So yeah, we don't even need that much time.
The cup game is coming up already in a couple of days against Göztepe, and Galatasaray have to go away to Fenerbahce as well in the cup. So that'll be fun for them.
Yeah, and then of course Galatasaray has Samsun in the next match, so we could potentially catch them real soon. Although not that we want Galatasaray to win. Anyway,
yeah, draw is fine.
Grey Wolf, the biggest bummer for the whole game is the damn broadcasters muting the crowd.
Oh my god,
yeah, that sucked.
That was so bad. Like I was really looking forward to this atmosphere. Sold out stadium, sold out in 30 seconds. And they were constantly fiddling with the sound. It was horrible. How did that come off on the US broadcast of BN Sports?
It was bad.
Yeah?
It was bad. And you wouldn't really notice it because it was just kind of muted until they would unmute it occasionally. And then suddenly it'd be like high pitched and really
it's like you
weird.
could like hear them like switching the dial constantly. It was very awful.
Yeah.
It was very, very annoying. And I don't even know why they did it because it's not like there was any massive protest chants or anything. I guess it was kind of a precaution. At least
I'm assuming. I was gonna say
in the comments, were there actually any protest chants? Because I didn't hear any.
Yeah. But which maybe they won.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah. I mean.
But yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kaan 2.0 says watching. Oh, this is. This is going to be a chance, Kaan 1.0, to like leave these folks with a hot take that's going to like burn some buns. Kaan 2.0 says, watching Rosier against Real Madrid, damn, he is still good.
Yeah.
Kaan and I are sort of Team Rosier, honestly.
I mean, he might have been a very disruptive element in the dressing room. Which I think the signs kind of point towards. Although,
I'd love for Ole to get a shot at him, because I feel like he's kind of one of those characters that maybe a guy like Ole would really thrive.
But it's too late. It's too late. He's gone, so we'll just have to. We have to move on, man.
Watch him play against Real Madrid for what? It's Leganes or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's Leganes. Yeah.
And here we get to some fun banter before we part ways. Kaan 2.0 says, TT No Face says, I've been cursing out Rashica and Mucci the whole season. Definitely not Beşiktaş class players. Kaan 2.0 says, Rashica, yeah, for sure, but I still got hope for Mucci.
Yeah.
Fatih Selimi says, I agree for Rashica, but Mucci is a very talented player, and let's keep in mind that he's not playing in his natural position. I believe in Mucci. I'd like to add that I think he's more in his position today than we've seen him recently, and he was better today.
Yeah, I think he had a couple of
then-
sloppy passes, but he also, I mean, the goal he scores is a fantastic. I mean, if that's not offside.
The foul he earns outside of the box, and of course the foul where Jankowski should have gotten his first yellow.
Yeah, and if that goal, Sinan, if Gedson is like a couple of centimeters onside and that goal stands, this could have been another 5-0, because I think what this game needed was a second goal after the red. I think if we score a second goal after the red card, this could have escalated into a really embarrassing evening for Galatasaray. And yeah, I mean, okay, it was offside, but the goal itself, the way he hits the ball, was a fantastic shot. I definitely think that that Mucci has a lot of quality to him. He's just being played out of position, but I think we all agree that Rashica is not the standard that we should be aiming for.
Yeah, it's a shame. I've sort of become a hater. There was a time when I felt like there was something to defend, in theory, but it's just. Yeah. Much in the way Semi hasn't shown anything. Anyway, Carlito says, "What do you think about the Eagles and Shield projected onto the field? Perhaps not a bad investment after all.
Oh,
definitely better than the same system Fener had.
I didn't see it.
I didn't notice it. Yeah, I noticed. So on the BN USA feed, they were showing us like dark stadium situation. So I'm guessing maybe that's where they were." Then projecting it onto the field. I mean, that's what they were doing it for. But I couldn't see it for some reason. Like it wasn't.
Yeah. As soon as the full-time whistle, I caught like the interviews and stuff, but I was like preparing for the show, so I wasn't actually watching. So I probably missed that if it was after the game. So I can't answer.
And so then, in line with that, as far as pyrotechnics or just techniques, if you will, Kaan 2.0 says, by the way, we have a brand new defender. The Eagles scream while the opponent attacks. I did notice that a couple times.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like in the NBA, man, some of these stadiums, they're so sneaky with it. Like when the home team has the ball, they'll play like some good jazzy beat that almost like you can imagine it like helping a guy on the ball. And then when the opponent has it, it's even sneakier. They'll play just like bad music that's like, like it doesn't sound good. It's arrhythmic. Like and it's like it'll like it's so nasty. But so yeah, I mean we're not quite at that level, but I did notice the Eagles screech, which I kind of like it. It's kind of a sneaky though. Anyway, Contabino, I am not against him leaving though. If you say a teammate,
Mucci.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, if we get our
say a team not to play well for the team, you should go. Yeah, I don't want to see Mucci go. I didn't even weigh in on that. Yeah, I like Mucci.
Yeah, I like him to an extent, but I think if a good offer comes, you sell him definitely because
for sure.
You have Rafa,
if we can get like
and there's why keep shoehorning him in? We just talked about this. He's being played out of position, but realistically, as long as Rafa is there, he's gonna be played out of position. So if you get a good offer in the summer, you sell. Because otherwise, and you get a more natural winger or whatever, but you get somebody who fits the team more and that accommodates Rafa more because he's our best player at the end of the day, and we need to build around Rafa. I know Rafa is turning 32, but he's still young enough, I think, where you can build around him for a couple of years. He showed today again why he is the best on the team.
I agree. And why you might aim towards building around him for at least the next, 2 or 3 years. So that about does I'm not against him leaving. Yes, Grey Wolf keeps plugging YouTube. He repeated that from earlier. I didn't read it earlier because I just, I felt like I was advertising YouTube, and I didn't want to do that. So I won't read it again.
I'm all for it. I mean, I think if you're watching, I believe once we unlock like the monetization, which we're getting pretty close to, I think.
Then I'll maybe.
Premium YouTube premium views are good for that. I think as far as I know. So go ahead.
Go ahead and watch us. I don't have an opinion on YouTube versus Spotify or anything like that. I just didn't want to like. I mean, that almost reads like an ad line. I didn't want to read the ad line. 2 for 1.
I think both.
Anyway,
I think both are great, but I use YouTube a lot more personally because I watch a lot of interviews and stuff like that, and like
I use Spotify more because it's like it's just for audio. Like I'm more focused on work, and then
I have such a big library of purchased music on iTunes that I don't subscribe to a premium music thing because I've invested.
That was always my stance, exactly.
I have invested so much money already in my iTunes library that so.
I mean, I almost want to pull my show you like I have like a record collection. I've invested so much money in music that it's a shame. That's part of why I've never done it. Anyway, Kaan 2.0, there was no anti-government fan reaction, but I estimated there would be some protest. But yeah, this is why they muted the fans so often. And then finally, Opus Aure says, sure, you can let him go, but I worry about the replacement. He's a good player, I believe. Only inconsistent.
Yeah. And not to...
It's legit, because like you really do want to have, like, Rafa, the way he plays, can get taken out of the game. And like, luckily we haven't really seen him struck with like a really serious injury, but we've seen him pick up knickknacks. We've seen opponents really take his feet out from underneath him from behind and all kinds of things. So I mean, it's true. You want to have someone who can rely on, like not just a backup for him, but like a good backup, right?
And Sinan, I forgot this, but did you see he actually celebrated that goal like big time?
He was hyped.
Like he was sliding and like proper celebrating. Like we've not seen that of Rafa too often, but. I kind of like the fact
I think
that, Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, it makes it more special, and it shows that it means something to them.
And I think for everyone involved, in a way, I almost felt bad for guys like Chiro who have been there all season and not been able to really experience this, because like this was the stadium they'd been promised, right? It's packed to the brim, loud, hyped, like you're playing against a rival. You can only imagine the sound when you score that goal in that stadium, right? Like,
we can only imagine it because they kept muting it.
I know, exactly. We can literally.
I mean, that really grinds my gear, man. Like, not just in this game, by the way, because I don't know if you noticed it, but like they mic our stadium very noticeable, terrible, very bad, noticeably. And I always have the feeling that the volume on our fans is turned way down compared to Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. And
I even wonder if the mics are like somewhere a little too close to our opposition's fan section.
That's one of the problems or one of the criticisms. And
really, there you go. It felt like it.
They do.
I feel smart.
The microphones are actually placed closer to the away section. That is actually true. But I mean. There's literal proof of our fans being louder on average than our rivals, but on television it doesn't come across, and I genuinely think that's because they turn down the dial on our matches. I really think that. And there's been people in the stadium with decibel meters who clearly show that we have by far the loudest fans, and it doesn't come across like that on league games, but in European matches it does.
Sure.
Different broadcaster.
Interesting.
Yeah. So maybe we should be going out to the stadium before the games with a Be Fair T-shirt.
That's right. Or at least we should send someone who knows how to do tech work and have them reposition the mics. Regardless of what being more. Final comment, Zoe, what do you guys think about Rafa's nod while going to the bench? I don't really recall it, to be honest. I don't
know what do you make of it, Zoe? Because
I'm curious what you read into it. I think I might have been pouring myself a glass of water or something when that happened. Like I do recall him coming off. But yeah, I didn't. Was he happy, perhaps, or hyped, or showing passion for? I'm not sure what you meant, Zoe, but let us know, I guess. You have a few minutes before we wrap up. Kaan, is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
You know, I
It's getting late for you, huh?
well, is it getting late? I don't know. It's getting like 11, quarter past 11. He was like not happy. I don't know. I don't think so, Zoe. I think he just has. I think Rafa has a very
Not happy.
specific resting face.
Yeah.
I don't think his face, his resting face is not one of elation. I'll put it that way. I didn't read too much into it. I mean, it was in. When did he get subbed off? Like, it was like 90 plus, I think, right?
Yeah.
And
I did see him celebrating after the match with like when they were doing the so I don't think it was anything to read into. So don't worry.
I don't think so. No, I don't really have any final thoughts other than, you know, if we do want to, you know, just a little bit in terms of the politics of things. Yeah, I honestly, I did not expect massive fan protests in this game. I know a lot of people probably were hoping for it and maybe are disappointed that there weren't any, and kind of reminiscing to the Gezi Park times where Czechia were on the forefront of the whole protests. But I think you need to remember that there were literally people from Czechia who got out of prison this year, 10 plus years onwards from the Gezi Park protests. I also think you cannot forget what happened to the club in the aftermath of it. They sabotaged the construction of the new stadium. They delayed that for a couple of months. We all know what happened in that infamous Galatasaray derby with the 1453 Kartalare fan group that suddenly appeared and even more suddenly disappeared after, you know, storming the pitch and getting us a 5-match home game ban and lots of things, you know. I understand that people want to see protests from our fans because that's what they're kind of known for you know, facing social injustice and kind of that kind of stuff. But I didn't really expect it because I think that they've cracked down so much on it in the past that people have learned a little bit that, okay, you know what, and you could argue, okay, well, what are they gonna do to like 39,000 people chanting? How are they gonna identify the ones and this and that? And yeah, maybe you're true, but they're just gonna, they're not gonna hit those people individually, but what they're gonna do then is just gonna hit the club. And there's so much right now.
A huge fine or
not fines, Sinan. One of the big things Settle Adala is working on right now is a real estate project. And
right, like not giving out permits or
not giving permits, okay. Not giving us the land. Don't forget that land is granted by the government. There's so many ways that they can hurt the club. And when I say hurt, I mean like devastate the club. And it's all great and fine on the internet to be talking big and like, oh, they should be doing this and that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I understand the country's future is more important and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't mean you have to... I don't know. I just think...
I guess my
expectations are a little bit unrealistic.
My only point, I guess, I'll make is that I don't know, you know, as far as boycotting this or that, I don't necessarily see the impact of boycotting football, which again, like if you are, all power to you, you know, I would never say don't do something that you think is effective.
I think the argument,
by all means.
The argument is that football is a distraction, and and right now,
sure,
okay,
you know,
people should be, people should stay vigilant and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I think you can do that and still watch football at the same time. I do understand boycotting certain media sources and all that kind of stuff. I definitely understand.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
that.
Okay.
Anyway.
No, and you're right. I guess now that you phrase it like that, that's a fair point. But I guess, you know.
Anyway,
at the same time, if you are out there protesting, sorry, real quick though, if you are out there protesting, like, you have to take care of yourself, right? You gotta like eat 3 meals a day. You gotta like shower, take care of yourselves out there too. I know that it feels like it's heavy and there's a lot of weight on you guys to like make change as much as you can, and that might lead people to do things that they might not do normally. Just remember the nature of the state that's like.
Yeah, and we were talking about this recently as well. See that like in the US, we were talking about it in our WhatsApp group chat the other day. How people on green cards who are joining protests there are getting deported. Protests against Israel and stuff like that.
It's different. It should be different in that like we do have First Amendment rights, so they're not breaking the law here. Whereas in Turkey, it's a different context, and I think you got to be real careful out there.
No,
folks.
but I'm just saying, like, there's always a certain risk you're taking when you join protests, especially when you're living in a country where they don't really respect everyone's opinion. Let's put it that way. Anyway,
especially we're going way off topic.
Yeah, we should stop it now because at the end of the day, not everyone is going to agree on that, and some people are going to be on different political spectrums, and we don't want to turn people off because at the end of the day, this is a Beşiktaş podcast, not a political podcast. But at the end, also it's difficult to ignore what is going on in the country right now because it's so big, and yeah, I do think that we have to address it a little bit, especially in the context of people being disappointed that there weren't any big protests in the game from the fans, people expecting them. Again, I didn't expect it, and I don't expect it in upcoming games of other teams either. I think the country has changed. I don't think Turkey 2025 is Turkey 2013. I think the people's freedoms to express themselves have been diminished since then. So anyway,
yeah, which is why I think there's probably a certain even maybe fear of like corralling yourself into a stadium where you can easily then, right? Like they could pluck you out on your way out. There's only a few exits, right? You're almost kind of confining yourself to be punished. So yeah, I mean, lots of reasons not to get too into it. But what I will say, and I think it's really important that I do on a day like this, let's go Beşiktaş! Peace, everybody. Let's see the names, folks. Long list. Özcan Zelkaman. The Swede, Özcan, the Bull, Malak, Paul O'Connor, Nathan, Nadaboberto Davis, the man, Finnish Kavan, Tristan Gray, Michael Berry, Umer, Unal, Mr. Not So Negative, Jara, the Irishman Hensley, Mario 1 and a 2 and a 3, Vargas, donate to the cause, folks, check out the link in the bio, Niall Tariq, Sebastian, the not sporting director Heinat, the vigilante Turk and his emojis, Nasser, where are you, my good friend? It's been a minute. And of course, the indomitable, indubitable, the financier, the